This hour for you on Daybreak, what Convoy of Hope is asking of the people of the Ozarks as it heads down for some Tropical Storm Laura relief.
And what a local daycare is doing to protect children from COVID-19.
Later in the hour, since the pandemic, we've heard a lot about contact tracing, but those contact tracers have a lot of work ahead of them that goes beyond COVID-19. We'll have that story and more coming up this hour for you on Daybreak.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Today is Friday, August 28th. I'm Jennifer Abreu.
And I'm Joe Morano. As we were just talking about back to school pictures and things, I remember not fighting my parents too much getting the back to school picture with the siblings as a kid, but I'm sure they will argue that point, right?
Yeah, possibly.
Probably. I was a difficult child to get out of bed and everything else, you know?
We complained about the pictures every year. Because as we got older, my mom still wanted to do them. We were like, Mom, really? The Christmas pictures, we fought over even more.
Oh.
If it was up to her, she would still do them today. And we're like, Mom, really?
But that's part of it, you know. The fighting about it is part of the tradition.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Good point.
You know?
Very good point.
Did you guys, actually, my mom texted me last week. In the 90s, I held up a paper plate that said, at least his first day of preschool, because we didn't, you know, now they make these like actual signs for the kids. And my mom was like, we didn't have that.
No, we never did any of this.
So she texted me and was like, look at these kids. They don't even have to hold paper plates anymore.
Yeah. They're getting more creative, you know, and more of the resources, more official.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this weekend, we are watching for some rain. More today, not so tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we are actually starting out too this morning with some fog, dense fog advisories. And in fact, from Springfield and areas back to the west, it goes until 9 a.m. where we could find that visibility drop to a quarter mile or less at times. You've got that visibility down to a quarter mile in Joplin this morning. So we could find some more of that headed towards Springfield. You've got some clouds out there this morning. It is 72 degrees. So we still have Laura over to the east with 30-mile-per-hour winds at the center in northern Arkansas. Some light showers to the east this morning, stretching from Eminence down towards West Plains. We've got some light showers there, and then in north central Arkansas as well. But we're not finding the tropical downpours out of Laura, and those showers will continue to exit this morning. It's 72 degrees in Springfield, 72 degrees also in Branson. We're starting out with some fog and some wet roads this morning. We'll dry out by this afternoon with some more sunshine. So if you're homeschooling today, you might have some clouds outside of the window early, and then you'll have some more sunshine coming through late with those temperatures in the upper 80s. So we're continuing to track Laura's remnants. A cold front comes through this weekend. Details on storm chances coming up in a couple of minutes.
Well, after Hurricane Laura made landfall as a Category 4 and killed at least 6 people and left a path of destruction in Louisiana, Convoy of Hope is making its way down to help. The group is headed to the Lake Charles, Louisiana area. The convoy that left yesterday included 2 tractor-trailer loads of food and supplies and 1 tractor-trailer load of water. We talked with Jeff Nini with the convoy, and they made a pit stop in Shreveport. Even if some people are hard to get to, he says they will try their best to reach everyone they can in Lake Charles. He says, though, they're the ones driving into the storm while everyone else is driving away from it, it's worth it.
They're going to have difficulty over the next several weeks in getting food and water, cleaning supplies. So we will find a way to get to as many of them as possible. I mean, I've seen people wade through waist-deep water carrying food and supplies to give it to somebody that couldn't get out. Sometimes they can't see the end. All they can see is what's right in front of them right now. I think the most important thing, surprising or not, is giving people hope.
If you would like to help Convoy of Hope, Nini says areas along the Gulf are in dire need of hygiene products and baby products. He says if you'd like to put together some kits with those products, you can drop them off at the Convoy warehouse.
Bringing you an update on the coronavirus now. As students go back to school and more parents are going back to work, daycares remain in high demand. This morning, Melanie Chapman shows us what one Springfield daycare is doing to keep children safe.
At Little Sunshine's Playhouse and Preschool, children enjoy their play and learning time. The president of the daycare says since the stay-at-home order in Springfield was lifted in May, their enrollment started going up exponentially. Brett Robal says when the COVID pandemic started here, they made changes right away.
So we changed our policies and procedures for COVID right away in March. And so really the things that we've been doing back at the beginning are the things that we're still doing today with great success. And that is really starting with the masks, number one. All of our teachers wear masks, have really since the beginning of this. We keep stable classrooms. So a lot of times in the afternoons when kids are leaving, traditionally we would combine kids into one classroom. We're not doing that anymore. We're keeping the same teachers with the same children all day, every day.
All of the caregivers and staff are masked, and the school is off limits to anyone except students and staff. Parents are asked to wear masks when dropping off and picking up their children outside the building.
And really the goal is just to keep those children and staff members protected in their little pods in their classrooms to make sure that we're not taking any unnecessary risk or introducing unnecessary elements.
Children 3 to 11 are not required to wear masks under the ordinance, but it is highly encouraged. In-home daycares are not considered a place of public accommodation, so masking is not required, but again, highly recommended. Like many, likely most schools in the region, children eat their snacks and lunches in their classrooms. Robal says out of their 26 schools across the nation, they've only had a few isolated incidents of staff or students testing positive for COVID, and there was no evidence that transmission originated within the school.
And so to me, that shows that what we're doing is working, and that's the most important piece.
In terms of how kids are reacting to the staff wearing masks, Robal says, like many of us, it appears to be their new norm. In Springfield, Melanie Chapman, Ozarks First.
The daycare also does temperature checks every day of all staff and students. If anyone has a fever or shows any symptoms of COVID-19, they're sent home.
The Springfield-Greene County Health Department announced a new record for daily COVID-19 cases, which was recorded on Wednesday. The health department reported 112 new cases of COVID-19, the highest number of daily new cases we've seen since the pandemic began. These new cases bring the county's cumulative confirmed case total to just over 2,800. The county now has 1,350 active cases. The health department also announcing its latest COVID-19 death, a man in his 80s with underlying health conditions. This patient was associated with a long-term care facility. This is the county's 29th confirmed COVID-19 death and the 18th to happen this month.
Pulaski County has announced its second death due to COVID-19. The case was previously announced as hospitalized. No other personal information has been provided, though, in order to protect the identity of the family.
59 local organizations also getting financial help thanks to CARES Act Relief Fund grants. More than $10 million was handed out in Greene County. Several area schools and government agencies received thousands of dollars for COVID-19 protection equipment. Cox and Mercy Hospital both got over $1 million for reimbursement and frontline healthcare expenditures, and 12 small businesses got either $5,000 or $10,000 for payroll expenses or supplies.
All right, we certainly know that times are different these days, and the way we attend trade shows has changed drastically in 2020, right?
And you can get the same kind of experience by attending a virtual event like the Man Show.
All this weekend, starting today, go to ozarksfirst.com, look for the Man Show, check it out. Over 30 local companies will be holding a virtual interaction. You don't have to drive anywhere, park the car, wander around a bunch of those booths, right?
Instead, you can just watch the videos online, and every one of them has a special offer. And you can also help big brothers, big sisters by taking part in a silent auction. This is the rescheduled Man Show. We were supposed to have this in March like we do every year. But of course, the ongoing pandemic and the start of it then changed those plans. But again, virtual Man Show this weekend. Go to our website and take part.
We're starting out with some dry roads on our Color 10 live drive this morning. Fog isn't too bad yet, but we've got a dense fog advisory in effect from Springfield and counties back to the west of Highway 65. You're finding visibility down to a quarter mile in Joplin. The latest on Laura coming up next.
From Color 10 Ozarks First, Jennifer Abreu, Joe Morano, and weather with meteorologist Elisa Raffa. This is Color 10 News Daybreak.